Imagine all you wanted to do from a young age was to be a professional football player. You put up impressive numbers during your collegiate career, numbers that are definitely good enough to get you drafted in the upcoming draft. And then when the NFL draft rolls around, you get that phone call that everyone dreams of. But what if I told you once the NFL star said the NFL draft was one of the most terrible experiences in his life? And then on top of that, he got drafted by the one team he didn't want to go to. This one person is none other than Amon St. Brown. Well, you might think this is an attitude that expresses ungratefulness, and many others would love to be in a position just to be drafted in the NFL. In order to decipher this thought process of approaching the NFL draft, you have to understand who Amon St. Brown is as a person and how he got to this point. Born in Southern California and raised in the Anaheim area, Amon St. Brown comes from a unique household, where his father John Brown was a two-time Mr. Universe in bodybuilding, and his mother is a full-blooded German. He was named after an Egyptian god, and the Saint part was added to their last name when they were first born, because his father John Brown was a man with a plan, and it would look more appealing on the back of their jerseys one day. From a young age, Amon's father John got him and his brothers Osiris and Equanimous into weightlifting, starting with PVC pipes. They would grow up playing a variety of different sports, but him and his brothers would gravitate towards football and sticking to lifting weights. Their start was in the Pop Warner Football League, all of them playing running back. Eventually, as Amon got older, he would transition into wide receiver, and part of his workout regimen as he got older was catching 202 passes from the jug machine, as he still does to this day. While his father took care of Amon and his siblings with the development on the athletic side, his mother emphasized the importance of education. Growing up, Amon and his siblings grew up speaking German, French, and English. He would speak German with his mother, English with his father, and attended French school up until the 6th grade. He even took the SAT in both German and French, nearly scoring a 1600. St. Brown would start his high school career at Servite High School as a freshman, but he would end up ultimately transferring to Trinity League rival and powerhouse Mater Dei the following year, which would end up being a smart move as the notoriety and offers would start to pour in. As a senior in 2017, he had 72 receptions for 1,320 yards and 20 touchdowns. He was described by his high school QB at the time, J.T. Daniels, as the quickest, smartest, and most efficient route runner, and someone who is always on the same page as him. When it was time to choose a school, St. Brown elected to stay home and attend USC. He did make it a point during his recruitment he wanted to go to a program that would provide him a chance to start right off the bat. As a freshman, he would make an immediate impact for the Trojans, with his high school QB, J.T. Daniels, slinging him the ball at SC. He would finish the season with 60 catches, 750 yards, and 3 touchdowns. In his sophomore season, he would have 77 catches, cracking 1,000 yards receiving, and 6 touchdowns, but with JT injured for the season, it was with a different quarterback and Keaton Slovis. Going into his junior year, St. Brown would deal with adversity. As the COVID-19 pandemic was still going on, the Pac-12 chose to only play in-conference opponents that season for football. He would end up playing in only 6 games, totaling 41 catches with 478 yards and 7 touchdowns. He would end up, though, declaring for the 2021 NFL Draft, forgoing the rest of his college eligibility. As you can imagine, with a shortened 2020 season and the cancellation of the 2021 NFL Draft combine activities, this only made teams more skeptical about his abilities, primarily viewing him as a slot receiver and believing he was too small to succeed going against bigger cornerbacks in the NFL. In April of 2021, when the draft rolls around, Amon St. Brown and 40-plus family members arrived at his watch party in Southern California. Waiting for his dreams to turn into reality and coming to the terms that he already would not be drafted in the first round, and not hearing his name on the first day of the draft, He was confident that it was going to happen on the second day, with all his family members and friends sharing this moment with him. He came to a harsh realization that no phone call would be received and that the commissioner would not echo his name on the second day of the draft. St. Brown recalls expressing his thank yous and goodbyes to all the family and friends who made it to his watch party not to hear his name called that day. He remembers ending that night feeling really pissed off and resorted to a good old training habit of catching 202 balls on the jug machine before going to bed that night. The following morning, he would finally be selected in the 4th round with the 112th pick to the Detroit Lions, who had an unproven head coach in Dan Campbell and a team that had not made the playoffs in a while. But one thing about St. Brown and Campbell that was evident was they were both highly motivated. Amon proving to the teams that passed on him it was going to be a big mistake, and Dan reigniting hope to a franchise that had never been past a playoff wildcard game in decades. All the questions 4 years ago about St. Brown have been answered, in long and thorough paragraphs, and with a resume that includes 3 Pro Bowls, 2 All-Pro selections, and has hauled in 430 receptions along with 4,851 receiving yards to go along with 33 touchdowns, which has resulted in a 4-year, $120 million contract extension with a franchise that has now appeared in an NFC championship and a division playoff game and could potentially have a Super Bowl written in their future. This is the story of Amon St. Brown.